I like this spot. Yeah, yeah. Whenever I'm inside, which seems to be a lot of times when I'm recording these videos, I think this would very much be the spot that we're going to use. Excuse me, that's supposed to be an inner dialogue, but you know, this is an inner dialogue, so y'all gonna hear it all. Anywho, um, the communication of the universe. We are constantly in constant communications with the universe, and it uses signs. And these signs come in the form of people, circumstances, conditions, environments, you know, and many more other things are part of nature as well too. Hi, you decide you wanna come in? It's up to you. But yeah. And really one just simply requires the awareness to see the signs that are being communicated to you. And oftentimes these communications are a way to help navigate you and whatever circumstances that you find yourself in, whether it be a negative one or a positive one. You know, the universe conspires according to your frequency of how you vibrate, right? So as the God, the other beautiful consciousness that is known as neural knowledge, he says there are two M's. It maintains and it magnifies whatever that you're projecting. It throws right back to you via maintaining it and also magnifying it, which is fire principle. I love how he like worded it and put it together. But oftentimes we already know this, right? It just takes another person to see it in their perspective and use the words that we use to elaborate further meaning and further perception so that we can go down the way of how he went. Essentially, you know, that particular consciousness and how they put it together and then wanted to share this secret to the world. And we try to simplify it as much as we can. This is why we use words, right? It is a simplification of a very, very big, deep, complex, but also not so complex system that we are embedded in, right? Nevertheless, I wanted to talk about this because there's been signs everywhere, right? As consciousness expands, you can see the subtleness of how communication often happens, and this communication is energetic. It is frequency, it is vibration, and it is really, really beautiful on how this happens, honestly. For example, of course, my beautiful cat, you just seen her. I'm not sure if the camera caught it, and now she's behind it looking and messing with the stance. I hope you don't do what I think you're going to do. Hey, uh-uh. Thank you. That's your first warning. See, I'm communicating with her with these sounds that I often make with her to let her know that that's not cool. That's your second warning. Now that particular sound, she knows that grabs her attention immediately because I've been sucking my teeth whenever I'm like dissatisfied of her behavior or what she's doing, and now she has completely stepped away from the tripod. Beautiful. Thank you for demonstrating that. This is a right on time message. All right, that's fire. Cool, cool, cool. Let's go. Nevertheless, yeah. So particularly with the cat, you know, every rising, she does this thing where she greets me, right? When I come into consciousness, into this particular reality, there are particular sounds that I would make, or my heartbeat would start to increase. Um, the energetic of pulsion that my body is producing, she would sense it, and she would come around me, and she would headbutt me, literally right in the middle of my head. She would like do this gentle headbutting, and to greet me, right? Some type of attention, some type of greeting, some type of hello, welcome back. You know, this is her way of saying these things. This is what I gave meaning to it. Um, just the way of how it's been happening for a while now, especially ever since I transitioned back onto the floor. I sleep on the floor, I sleep on the ground with a couple of sheets, and my body is essentially grounding. So there's a lot of connections happening, right? And she comes and greet me, and then there's a window right here, and I also have my little recording studio right here with my computer. And she jumps on the table and goes to the window and look out, guarding, seeing what's happening for a brief moment, right? And then she will come right back down and come into my space again, right? And normally I'm probably writing down the visions that I just had the previous night, gathering my thoughts of what just happened. I may do some scrolling. I may check for notifications that have came in or hasn't came in, whatever I'm doing on my phone. But she would come back and look at me, and then I'll reach out my hand because I know at this point she knows what I want her, or she knows that I know that she wants me to have some type of greetings with her, some type of affection with her. And I reach out my hand and she comes and glide her body across it, put her head around it, and then do this thing where she would just collapse her body right next to me so that I could continue to caress her, right? And right when I stop caressing her, she goes get up and return right back into her personal space, right by this window, guarding and looking and enjoying her little presence. And this will continue to go on back and forth until I finally arisen from my grounded state and go into a more active state. And then the beta wave starts to come on to my brain where more activity are starting to take place. And then she knows that I'm fine, she'll know that I'm finally up, right? But I was like, this is fascinating. This is quite interesting. What's going on here, right? So I try to correlate to the things that are happening in my particular experience in my particular life. And then suddenly I get a glimpse on, there's a particular mirror that I've been in constant communication with. She knows who she is. And the pattern, the way that we've been communicating has been vaguely similar to how my beautiful cat greets me, comes into my presence, sit into it, see through me, enjoy it, and then she will retreat back into her personal space. And then she will come back and go and come back whenever she wants. I don't call her. I don't mess with the patterns. I don't demand attention. I don't demand anything. And I saw that this is very similar in a way that I've been communicating with this particular being. And it was startling at first, but then it became very fascinating secondly, because I was like, hold on. Nature often mimics these things that we go through in our life. Nature as in the universe as in you as in the inner world that is within you. And it is quite fascinating how this happens, right? Nevertheless, as time progress is happening, these communications are now increasing. Awareness has come upon them to the point that they realize that they are moving like this. And maybe they wouldn't like it if, the roles was reversed. Granted, we are always busy with our own life, of course, but we also make time for the people, for the places, for the food, the things that we love, because we have that power, we have that ability no matter what's happening around us. But we often forget that, right? So sometimes it would take somebody outside of you to let you know that, look, you have a lot of power to dictate the flow of things, you know what I'm saying? And oftentimes we know that when we take our time, when we just be present with what's happening at this very moment, it is the best way to be, it is the best way to go, because oftentimes the universe operates in such a manner, right? We tend to give it meaning on what's happening, whether it be negative or positive. But nevertheless, the more you allow things to unfold, the deeper the roots get. And these roots has been getting very deep, very entwining, very entangled in a manner that is divinely guided. You're looking at the door. I think you want out. See, look, communication is happening, but there's also noise on the other side. There's music on the other side, and she's staring at the door. But also, I just lay down her food, and she goes back and forth to her food. She likes to know that it's there. You know, it's very fascinating on how this particular being that we call an animal operates, and I tend to study her a lot. Studying as in just watching and being present for what's happening, and it's very fascinating. It's quite fire, you know what I'm saying? But back to the story. Um, yeah, and then she actually brought into the attention of the garden that we've been having, that we both have, right? I didn't know she had one in the very beginning of it until we spoke about it. And then, it came into conversation that, we have gardens, we love gardening. And in the beginning, there wasn't much flowers happening, there wasn't much activity happening. There was a lot of heavy rain happening on my side. And simultaneously, there was a lot of rainfall happening on her side, right? She's seen it as a determiner, like it slowed down things, or it make it seem like things were very slowing down. So therefore, progress was very hard to see. But we both knew that it was inevitable that the flowers would indeed bloom and start to produce fruit, right? So therefore, fast forward, time progresses, and then I go ahead and send a picture that, look, what we spoke of back then has now come into fruition. My flowers are fluting. My flowers are fluting. My flowers are blooming. I have some tomatoes and some peppers, and they're both are showing flowers. The peppers have now started to pepper. Like it started to fruit essentially, and there are peppers, and the green started to come out from the flower. It's so cool. But yeah, and I shared a picture of it, and it prompted her to say that damn, the very thing that we spoke about back then has now come into fruition, and we knew that it was going to happen, and essentially this is a form of manifestation, especially when two beings are trying to co-create together, and we know exactly what we want, we know exactly what we desire, and we give the desire to ourselves internally already, and it's jointly being done. This is when two universes come together for a common cause, for a common purpose. Essentially, you are able to manifest it much more faster. This is our power. We are magicians, we are able to collapse reality in a way that the universe has to conspire that it happens no matter what, right? So certain things are inevitable to happen, especially when you already internalize it. And there's been a lot of things that we jointly express and internalize, and Lord and behold, it is coming into fruition. It is happening. And not only is it happening internal, but it's also happening externally, right? And her bringing up the garden and the conversations is a sign, right? It's a means of communication that, look, not only that we've spoken about these things, but also nature itself is mimicking these things, right? To let you know that, look, it's happening. It was a thought. It became very energetic. This energy became back with emotions, and with energy and motion, emotions very charged up in a particular way that is positive from both perspective, coming in together, coming in unison, coming into a relationship. It then collapsed into the external world, into the exterior world that we call our current reality, 3D, 4D, 5D, all of it is simultaneously coexisting together. And it manifests, it materializes into reality. Phenomenal, beautiful, right? That is magic that we have been removed from, we have been hidden from, right? There's a veil upon it. Not everybody knows about this magic, but because of the uptrend of consciousness, this is becoming a thing. Reality creation, like what do you want? What do you desire? Give it to yourself already. And then you will see signs start to appear to let you know that, look, you are in alignment, or look, you are not in alignment. Here's what you need to do to get yourself back into alignment so that what you desire indeed materializes before you, right? um the conviction to not rely on reality to give it to you, right? The conviction without having to see it happen first and then to know that you already have it is normally how you want to go about these things. You want to see it inside here already. You want to be living into it inside of it already. What I desire, I've already given it to me. I've given it to myself. I'm not relying on external sources to give it to me. I have to give it to myself, right? And then when I give it to myself and I embody it every single day, every moment, right? The universe then conspires to make it so, right? Because the universe is just a bigger version of you. Really, it's just a major big version of you to what we call the higher self. And the lower self, you can attribute it to this form that we're in, very comprised, very compact form that we're in. And the whole goal is to be in unison of it. It's to be in balance. It's to be in ma'at, right? It's beautiful. Even this shirt that I wear, it's an eye with 3 rings above it, Trinity, right? And this I am, it's the I am, literally. I created this shirt, more art than human. I've just first designed it on my, actually it came as an idea first, driving during work. And I designed the idea in my head. It's normally how I make my art pieces. It's normally how I make my artwork. I designed it in my head and I was very satisfied. And I was like, all right, cool. So now let's make it a little bit more tangible. So we took that design in my head and grabbed my iPad, very old iPad, but it works, iPad Pro. And we created the design. I was very much satisfied with the design, and made a mock-up run of the design within the program that is called Procreate, imported a blank shirt and put the design on the shirt and share it to particular people. And they was like, yeah, you should probably, they was like, they like it, but also gave me, recommendations on what to do. These recommendations are also signs, right? And depending on my mind state, I know that any recommendation that I have will be a positive one, regardless of how it sounds, right? We're alchemists. Um, we have the ability to transmute things or to keep it exactly how it is, depending on your internal compass, right? My intuition is high. We see things, we know things, and we don't take it for granted. And we try to apply this knowing within our physical being and navigate through the world with this knowing. And oftentimes, all the time, in fact, it works out. It always works out. I don't really stress myself about it, or whether it is or not. No point. I don't make room for it. It doesn't exist within my internal being. So therefore, reality always works out according to how I want it to be. Always, right? It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's a confident, right? It's a confidence, not a cocky type of thing. It's just a confidence way of maneuvering, because you don't require reality to then morph into what you see. You already have it in here already. So life will work for you and not you working for life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a bar. Let me stop. That's fire. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So then from the iPad, I became very satisfied with the design, and I went ahead and materialized it to its final form. Bam. Or is it its final form? I have no idea. Maybe more science will be given to me through the algorithm that we call YouTube. Maybe somebody may drop a comment about it. Who knows? I have no idea. We keep it all open, right? That's what it means to have an open heart. You're open to however the waves may come crashing in into a very subtle calm. Crashes first, but then it calms afterwards until it builds up energy again, right? This is what we call the pendulum. It swings left to right. I'm really going to say it. Yeah. I was telling the mirror that become the pendulum. Truly, become the pendulum. Don't be a slave to it. become the pendulum. So when you become the pendulum, it doesn't matter which way it swings because you're with it, right? Life is up and down, but if you know how to be neutral in between that up and down, you get through anything, right, Zuki? You get through anything. Anything is possible. And that's what it really means, that anything is possible. Have patience, right? Our experiences are oftentimes practices, so that we can practice. Okay, here you go. That's what you wanted? She nubbed me. Wanted some attention? Yeah. And now you just collapse on the ground? Oh, what we're doing? Okay. Right back at you. And so there's signs. You just simply have to slow down, be present, expand your awareness, and see what is being communicated to you. And when you see it, you are able to then digest what was placed before you. And during this digestion, you are able to meditate upon it. And through that meditation, you will know exactly what to do afterwards and how to navigate forward, right? It's beautiful. And then you just repeat this step, keep repeating it until it happens instantly. That's when you know you're in a line, right in that moment, and then living from moment to moment to moment. Because there's no other moment like the last. When I started recording this video, it cannot be duplicated to where I'm at right now. That moment is gone, but I've captured it on camera to share to the rest of the world, to the rest of the reflections that are out there, to whomever it may gravitate towards, to whomever may, need to hear the message. For there are signs everywhere, there are messages being communicated at all times. Look at you. What a being. Love you. I know. She doesn't even have to say a word. She's waving her tail in a particular manner that responds to the things that I'm saying. And that tail reverberates right back at me. And within here, I know what she's communicating. I know what she's saying. It's quite fascinating. But this is energetic communication. Of course, the more you do it, the more fine-tuned you become. And during this process with this particular mirror, she has enabled me to fine-tune my energetic signature. And through it, a lot of things has been back and forth. We've been communicating back and forth energetically, and which also helps speeds up the collapsing of time and space of our relationship in this particular reality. And we take hold of it and command it however we want to, in unison. The feminine and the masculine become as one. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, But yeah, I think that's all message I have to say today. The universe communicates in signs. It is always communicating, whether it be your conditions, people, circumstances, environment. It's not just limited to that. You have to be able to expand your consciousness to see how it happens. Just stay aware, be aware, and continue to be your best self. Be authentic, however that may seem and look to you. It may not look the same as everybody else, but real recognize real. Energy recognizes real energy, and purity recognizes purity. And when we see it, we give gratitude to it. It's appreciated. It's appreciation. It is joyous because it's a reminder of our true state of mind, our true state of being, right? And yeah, I hope I can get up. My leg don't fell asleep. That's how disattached I became. Oh my goodness. Wow. And it's always this one too that just goes to sleep. Wow. There's some very deep esoteric stuff to that. Not just the physicality of things, but also the energy. I'm able to dislodge myself from my body and channel the higher self that I am, the oversoul, channel it through this body, through this vessel, and broadcast the energy onto the algorithm, which is another replication of us, right? And it will find who it needs to find. And yeah, stay blessed, be blessed, enjoy, be present. It's not that serious, but it's also serious. The duality, but also non-duality. And yeah, we about here.